G'day podcast, Carl here with another episode of Walk with Carl. I'm going to be joined by Corey Weber today, who is my cousin, and the guy you may have seen on my socials over the last 12 months, back when we were competing together. We had like a little showdown thing where we were doing some exercises and like competing against each other basically, and jumped up on stage last year, and we basically went through that process together. We've been training together since I was about 15 years old, and yeah, very close to him. I learned a lot off him, and I think now that I'm in the space and I'm in the personal industry, we bounce off each other a lot. We call up each other pretty much weekly and just discuss how we're doing, and just talk a lot really. So this is just a bit of an insight to one of our conversations, how we interact, what we talk about. So yeah, hope you enjoy, and yeah, enjoy the podcast, guys. My man.
Hello, how's it going?
Oh, doing pretty good. How are you?
Oh yeah, not too bad. Bit fresh.
Oh yeah, really? In Mildura, it's fresh.
I reckon it was probably getting on to 6 or 7 degrees this morning.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, fog. There's ice on the grass, Nick.
Bloody hell. It's actually quite nice here at the moment. Like, sun is beaming straight onto the eyelids.
Jeez. No, that's what you want. I think it warms up pretty quick these days, but
yeah. How'd your leg workout go last night?
actually, I don't know. Like, it's interesting because I've been with Bluey. I've been training predominantly strength.
Yep.
Like, probably maxing out at maybe, I don't know, maybe 140 for like a pretty decent squat. But
140.
Yeah, but I can't load up that much weight onto the bar because I don't have a squat rack. So
yeah, all right, hang on. So give me a little rundown of what you've actually got at home at the moment.
It's so just got a basic bar. I've got a couple of barbells.
Yep.
2 easy bars, 4 dumbbells. But they're not preloaded. Like, you have to
put the weights on. Is it the one like with the spinny like hexagon thing that you like? Bah, 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 bah.
Yeah, literally. And the thread is like 8 inches long, so you're spinning it for days. Yeah.
Okay, so with the barbell, how much can you actually load up total?
Well, I think in total, I haven't actually done it because I don't know how much thread like there is, like how much you can actually put on it. But yeah, I think you can put on anywhere between 150, 160, but that's using like 3 15s, like a couple 10s, and like 8 2.5. It's ridiculous.
That would look great. So that's the weight plates that you have.
That's the only ones I've got.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I think
okay. So you've been focused on mainly strength before this, and how'd your session go yesterday?
Well, obviously, without a squat rack, it's a little bit hard to get under the bar with a heavy weight. So
Louis comes up behind you and like has to throw it on the shoulders.
Yeah. Oh well, I think that's what would have happened if he was there, but it was just me. So I loaded up 80 kilos on it. I was swinging like doing a
like a clean.
Yeah. So I loaded up, picked up the bar in a deadlift position, and yeah, swung it up into a clean press straight over the head onto the neck.
Yeah. Isn't that an I'm pretty sure that's called like a barbell complex anyway. Like, that's actually like a thing.
Yeah, well, it is a thing now.
So 80 kilos, like many reps out. Did you follow like a strict workout, or did you just go how you feel?
Oh, well, that's the thing. Like, you're not in the gym, so you don't. All routines out the window.
Literally.
Yeah. So I was just going for, I don't know, anywhere between 10 and 12 reps, a minute rest. in between and pumped out about 20 sets.
20
not all sort of
but not just squats. Yeah, okay, but everything total.
Yeah, so hit about I think 8 of standard, and then I tried those pistol squats. That was 4 sets.
Yep.
And then it was a sumo deadlift.
Yep.
Narrow squat, or narrow stand squat, and single leg squat on like 1 foot elevated on a bench behind you.
Yeah, that sounds actually pretty delicious. Sounds like a pretty good workout.
Yeah, I'm sore.
Now, like, because God only knows, how long do you think the gyms are going to be closed for up in Mildura? Like, what was the vibe up there with everything that's going on?
I don't know. Like, I think it's pretty across the board with everything.
It's just going to
be sort of up in the air, but I reckon it won't last that long.
Really?
Maybe like 3-4 weeks. Hopefully.
Yeah, I reckon too. And like, so has this changed anything as far as like competing next year, like 2021? You're hoping not.
No,
What about if it? No, go.
No, I reckon it hasn't changed anything.
Yeah.
In any case, I reckon it's actually sort of made the whole goal a little bit more achievable, because if you can get shit done at home, then what's to say you can't actually pump out a little workout at home before you go out and start your day or whatever, and then actually go to the gym or continue another home workout afterwards.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that. I think that's one of the big things that, like, I've been saying, like, if the people that can sort of build that habit and do the home stuff anyway, because I'll be honest, like, I've always hated like doing home workouts. Like, I remember even coming to yours when the barbell was set up, like, you always said, like, we'll do a home workout. It was just never the same.
Yeah, never.
But yeah, like, I think if you can build that habit now, it's just going to help, like, long term. What if it does close down for, let's just say that, 6 months, and it doesn't open up till like September, November next year? How would you still attempt to keep that going? Like, would that still be as your top priority?
I reckon so. I mean, like, if it's something you like, then it's not a chore. It's not really that hard to do if you got the drive, that is. I think for new people or people who's aspiring to, try and compete or try and do something like that to that level, I think it's pretty damn hard, as a lot of people could imagine. But yeah, I reckon it's all right. Yeah. I think first you got to invest in some staple equipment.
Yeah, you'd have to, if it was for that long. Do you think you would need that amount of equipment? Would you buy more stuff, or do you think you'd be able to make it work with what you have?
Oh, well, I reckon, as you mentioned in your previous podcast, I reckon you got to start off with your weakness, right? And my weakness is legs, predominantly quads, and shaking it up with some high volume training is good. And I think it's going to work for maybe like a month, but I got to load up heavier, and I can't get that with swinging 80 kilos over my head every night. So
that's going to be a bit of a pain.
Literally, so I got to get a barbell rack or a squat.
Okay. So first thing you'd get is the barbell rack.
Yeah, I've got to get something, and I'm not too sure. Like, I don't know if a leg press or a hack squat is going to sort of make a massive impact. But yeah, I'm not too sure.
I think there's ways to get around it. I mean, like, you've had your fair share of injuries, like, over the years. Not even really other than your shoulder. That was like actual training related. It was either like sport related or just doing backflips like you do.
Still to this day.
I don't know, like, would you if you go leg press, like if you focus on like your weaknesses and like if you think that's where your weakness is and you grab a leg press, I think you'll run into the same problem as in like just getting more and more weights. I feel like just having a barbell and just getting one that you could load up a fair bit, and just an easy squat rack, and then from there you could almost do anything, because you've got a. Do you still have the bench press?
Yeah, I ran over it with a fork accidentally, so I got a new one.
You ran over it with a forklift.
Yeah. So I got a new one. Got a adjustable bench as well. You know how you adjust the incline.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not too bad. And one of those, the multi-purpose machines. Just the average sort of one, like you've got your chest
lat pull down.
Lat pull down. Got your cables, got your what else you got on there? And your hamstring and leg extension too. So it's just a bit of an all-rounder thing. I only really use it for your triceps or biceps, but it's interesting. Change it up a bit.
Yeah, it's really good stuff done. All right. Well, as far as I kind of want to talk about like your past, like how your shows have gone in the past and like your actual competing history. Because honestly, I don't think it's talked about anywhere near enough. Like, I think what you went through like over those first two shows was absolutely ridiculous. Like starting at the ICN Rising Star and like taking out first show ever, like took out the opens, took it all home, got the big trophy, and then backed it up the next year by winning, was it the intermediates?
No,
at the Vic stage shows.
Yeah, no, it was still.
I was rookie. Yeah, so I was rookie intermediates.
It wasn't intermediates. It was juniors or something. It's the first year competing. So intermediates.
No, rookie weight class, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was rookie over 70 or under 79.
Over 73. It was. Yeah, it was either over or under. Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Do you feel? Which show do you think you brought a better package to?
Oh, for sure, the first one, the Rising Star. I think I was a little leaner on the day, 100% leaner. But I think mentally and physically, I felt a lot better, a lot clearer in the September show. And I don't know if that was just because it was a change of seasons and it wasn't so stressful, or my workload outside of the gym was a lot less.
And that was your second show competing, right? Like the September show?
Yeah.
100%. I think also just the fact that you've done it before, like, takes away a lot of that, like, mental angst.
Yeah, definitely helps when you get a few more hours sleep each night. I think I was averaging about anywhere between 5 and 7 hours a night max. Yeah, it doesn't do anyone any good, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it's tough. Well, yeah, we're not even going to get into my sleep during that time, but obviously sleep is going to be the main part. And to be honest, like, I think if we're talking, because I think there's a big disconnect between like people that are aspiring to compete, whether it be sort of powerlifting, bodybuilding, like doing that, and then just like people that are just sort of lifting weights or doing whatever they're doing for their own personal self, like to lose a little bit of weight or to just sort of feel good. If you were to sort of think about the person that is just doing it that's sort of lifting weights and to like just to feel good and just to sort of keep a routine going, how would you suggest they sort of work out? Like, what do you think should have been the main priorities during a time where like you can't access the gym? Like, what do you think is going to be the most important things to maintaining a physique, maintaining a routine? Like, what are you personally going to be doing? Like, does this feel like it's a big change, or do you feel like this is just business as usual and all you're doing is just swapping out a gym for home equipment?
Well, I reckon it's a huge change. That's for sure. In as far as
when was the last time you went 6 months without like going to a gym? Because I can't even remember. I don't think ever.
Literally. So you know how I was working the Waves. I was working the gym there.
The leisure centre.
Yeah. I reckon. Well, I worked out every day, and I was working every day. So, and I was there at around 13. So, yeah, I reckon ever since maybe like year 7, year 8, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
and you literally haven't really had time off since.
Oh, I wouldn't say months or anything. Even 6 months. Never had 6 months off, but I think I've always been in the gym for probably the longest time off, maybe 3 weeks, and that was probably during comp prep, and that was like when I did my ankle and my back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just such a change. So. Yeah, go on. The main things that you're going to make sure that happens throughout this, like, is it just going to be just try and get your total amount of sets in through exercise and stick to your exact same diet? Are you making any changes to your food? Because you're still, I guess competing wise, we were talking about 2021 season B, right? So it's still
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's still a fair way away.
Yeah, well, well, what is it now? March.
I guess we're in March.
Yeah.
So still like literally 18 months.
Yeah, but if you think about it, you still gotta. If you want to come in lean and full, you gotta start the cut soon-ish. At least like what is it, 6-9 months.
Yep.
Prior to
you're gonna start your cut. As in, you're going to like do a mini cut before then, or you're literally going to start the cut from them, or start the prep?
No, I do a mini cut, and then just gradually ease into it. Maybe introduce a bit more cardio. So when you actually start to do the cut, it's not so much a shock to the system, and your body can adapt and bounce back at it the next day.
Yeah, it doesn't absolutely murder you.
Yeah, it does. But and as far as food changes, yeah, I don't think I'll change that much. I am a little bit fluffy, that's for sure. So I'll probably wean down the carbs a little bit, but not really changing much. I enjoy the rice, steak, and veg most meals.
Yeah. Oh well, look. Let's be absolutely raw at the moment, and we'll talk about exact food like that you're sort of having at the moment, and like what you're focusing on, like how many meals a day you having at the moment.
I'm aiming for 6. Sometimes I get 5, but as long as I'm hitting all the numbers, like the protein and carbs, I'm happy.
Okay. And how consistently would you say you hit that? Are you like literally 7 days a week you're hitting every single like you're hitting your calories, your proteins, and your carbs? Or is it sort of like you've got like your vague sort of foods that and your vague quantities because you've been doing this for like 3 years straight and you're just going like off eyeball? Or are you still weighing everything day to day?
No, I'm getting pretty good at guessing what's actually going into the bowl. So still weigh out the rice because it swells out that much, so it doesn't take much to go over. But yeah, so rice and steak still measure out. With the veg, I kind of eyeball it, maybe give myself a little bit more if I'm a little bit hungry, or just if the mixed veggie packet actually just rips me off and I don't get enough broccoli, I just keep pouring. What else? Yeah,
because that's essentially because that essentially makes up. So steak, are you still having steak just for one meal in the morning, or have you added more?
Literally like meal 2, 3, 4, and 5.
All steaks?
Steak for days.
Like beef steaks?
Oh no, I've started buying.
Or it changes up.
So yeah, porterhouse for 2 of them and kangaroo for the other 2.
So you're off the mince, kangaroo mince, are you? And you moved to the steaks?
No. So, my bad. So,
Okay.
steak for 2 meals.
Yep.
That's just normal porterhouse, and then kangaroo mince for the other 2.
Yep. Yeah, nice.
And obviously that changes like from day to day, whatever is available or easiest to prepare. But
yeah, of course, delicious. Because look, that's at the end of the day, like you said, it's really more hitting that total protein amount, I guess. That's the main thing. So as like whether it's steak, whether it's kangaroo mince, whether it's protein powder, you know, you're going to get very similar effects on the body, and like so it doesn't really. It's lesser. I would rather people hit like protein numbers rather than focusing on where that protein's coming from.
Yeah, for sure. I've always, yeah. Well, that's it. That's it. At the end of the day, it's just a number. But if you're gonna opt to skip or choose between like food or an actual supplement like protein powder or the casein, like the night protein, yeah, I think I prefer the actual food though. Just whole,
100%.
you know, things a little bit better.
Well, yeah, like if we're especially for someone that's trying to make their physique their absolute best, and especially at a time where like food is it's not scarce, but like, you know, it actually is pretty hard to get certain things from the shopping centers at the moment. I would 100% be recommending like whole foods, like, you know, red meat, all that sort of stuff, like things that actually are nutrient dense. Especially, you know, I think it's, you know, people are always looking for like the lower calorie, like, you know, just looking straight for the protein shakes. And yeah, I don't know if it's exactly the right way to think about it. The last show, so the first show that you did, you were eating, because, you know, we obviously did it a lot together, not together, but like, you know, we were constantly talking about it. So I'm pretty into what you were doing. So first show, you were eating a lot more, say, like basically chicken, like a lot more chicken and fish. Did the second show you changed it up a little bit, or did you change to more red meat after you finished the show?
No, that was after the show. So
yeah, right.
And I think that's definitely contributed to me not being fluffier, but I think having a little bit more energy and a bit more go as soon as I wake up. Actually able to last a day without feeling fatigued. Sound a bit old, but yeah, like you definitely feel a bit fatigued when you have a full day at work and then you know, have your pre-workout, go to the gym, bust your ass trying to get somewhere, and then you get home and you're spent. But I found as soon as I switched to the red meat for most meals, I'm not too bad, to say the least.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, look, I definitely. That's exactly the main difference I think I found from my first show to second show, which was I was eating a lot more white meat, which was the chicken, fish, like bassa fish, and just like, you know, the leanest of the lean. And you definitely look more shredded. I think that you have to be eating more of that, and I do think red meat prevents you from getting stage lean, like when every single meal is that. You know, unless you're super. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's all calories, but you know, I think it's a lot harder to get that properly, to get that stage lean conditioning physique using purely red meat, and like, because there is a slightly higher fat content in it, and I think to get that stage lean, you really have to find ways to drop fat down dangerously low. Which is a lot easier to do through like the white meat and like through chicken breast and like bassa fish and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, Nig. Sounds windy over there.
Yeah. It just picked up quite suddenly, actually. Unreal. Yeah. So I think that's why we switched from, you know, through the lead up to the actual prep. I was on the steak as a staple each day, and then I don't know, I think it might have been maybe 12 weeks out, I cut the steak out altogether and just had chicken and fish, I don't know, might have been maybe 4 weeks out after that, and then cut chicken out altogether and went for the leaner option and chose fish for most of the meals, and then took it from there.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I think that's why you did so well in your shows. You know, getting podium at the Vic State Opens, that's just insane. Like, you know, that was a massive lineup, and that dude that won, we saw him at the ICM posing workshop, and we just looked at him and was like, oh my god, what are we going to do?
Yeah, and we picked it from then too. We knew it was
yeah, literally as soon as we saw it, we were like, yeah, if we're up against that, that's something special. Yeah, game set match. And as it was, you know, he came in really, really nice. Absolutely no doubt that
won his pro card.
That he did.
Yeah, he went through and did worlds and got his pro card.
Are you serious?
I'm not even joking.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, check it out. He's on the poster. I think it's for the September show. He's on the poster.
Right. Damn, I did not even know that. Usually I'm up to date with that sort of stuff. Honestly, good on him. He looked incredible, especially for a natural show. And as we know, like, the open winners get tested. You know, so he's obviously come back. He's already come back right. And just for his sheer size, I'll have to upload a photo of him because he was delicious. If I can get there naturally, that would be a dream.
Yeah. Well, you just got to keep going, don't you? Like, put in the years, because you don't really know how old he was, but it's just common sense knowing that with age comes size, or to a degree being natural. But
and of course, and muscle maturity as well. I think that plays a big role.
Yeah, for sure. I think the average age of those blokes up on stage were mid to late 30s.
Yep, 100%.
30s
for the most part.
Same.
Yeah, the guy that came third, I'm pretty sure he was like 45. Like, he was older. Yeah, but you do bring up a good point, like, and you hit the nail on the head. Like, it does take years to get to that point. You know, obviously you're not as, like, personal training. Like, you've got your PT certs. You can you've pretty much given the okay at your local club to do a bit of PT, and you're actually sponsored by Club Aquarius, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you've got a lot of room to do stuff over there, but sort of you're working at home at the moment and doing doing concreting and cementing and stuff like that, which I personally think that really contributes to like how much how you're able to stay lean, like just being as active as you are. When you wear your Fitbit, how many steps do you actually get, like, on a day-to-day? Like, what's your average?
During this little crisis we're in, I've been averaging about anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000. But
what?
Yeah, no, I'm really.
What do you mean? Okay, that's not like for most people. I think hang on, I'll better, because, like, I know for example Talia, she usually averages around that, and that's pretty good for her being at a desk job. But I've been to Mildura, I see what you do, and I see how much it has to be done. And 5,000 to 10,000 steps. You're getting sloppy on me, are you?
No, none of that. No, it's everything's shut down. So, like, all like our
not much to do.
All the customers are sort of slowed down a little bit, and that's understandable.
Everything,
yeah, average around anywhere between 15 to 25 a day. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's good.
No, that's pretty good. So I think one of the big things that I want to, like, that I think is interesting, like, between us, because so essentially I haven't really given a proper introduction, and I might do one at the start, like, once I hang up. But so Corey, obviously my cousin, there's how many years between us? 5 years? 5 years? How old are you now?
I think it's 3. I'm 28 this year.
Okay, and yeah, so I literally just turned 24 today, so 27. So yeah, only 3 years. Oh,
there you go.
Thank you. The rudeness on you. Yeah, so three years between us. And I think one of the you worked the body to go from when you were 18. What was your weight? Like how yeah, what was your weight?
Yeah, it was pretty piss poor. I think it was like I reckon it would have been like 68, 69. I don't even think I hit 70. I think that was my goal for years there.
Yeah, so to hit 70, so as you were there, and then what was the top weight? And mind you, you've always been lean, so that's the thing. Like you were always like pretty much skinny and like trying to build up that muscle like underneath, but you never really like went. The only time I've ever seen you like proper, even though you're saying fluffy now, like I know what you look like. I know you ain't that fluffy. You literally said you still got outlines of abs. That's your definition of fluffy. The only time you got somewhat fluffy was immediately after your first show.
Oh, that was fluffy as.
that was great. I love that.
That was unreal.
That made me happy. So before that, so leading up into your first show where you were relatively lean, you stayed super lean pretty much throughout your whole cut. You looked ridiculous. So you were 69 kilos at 18. What was your heaviest weight leading up into your first show?
I think in October, so what's that, 20 weeks out, I was at my heaviest to date. Oh, not to date, like until then, 91, I think. Yeah,
that's incredible.
That's not too bad.
30 kg and like putting on 30 kilograms, and it was over a fair few years. Like it does take time. It was essentially what, 6-7 years? Yeah, of time, and you know, to put on 30 kilos of mass and be able to still see abs, like I don't think you're pretty humble. I don't think you give yourself quite enough. That shit's ridiculous.
Oh, it's bound to happen though. Like, I think having a physical job, like, you just kind of take it in stride. Like, it is what it is. But yeah.
And I think just getting that structure as well, coming from because essentially how it sort of went down is, and you know, if we give you like the little bit of a rundown, and we'll start to wrap up on this, but Corey got me into training like when I was 14, I think.
Maybe even younger, honestly.
Yeah, well, you were 18 working at Waves, and so I'm 3 years, so I would have been 15. When I first had like my proper like gym session inside a gym, and he basically took me through a workout. He took me through legs, and I literally, first session ever, literally couldn't walk for like 5 or 6 days. I had like cousins on my hamstrings just massaging for like 3 days straight because I was up in Mildura and I could not walk. It was something special. So from there, you had already been training a few years, and like I think it's just literally what we always talk about, both you and me. It's just the consistency of it all. You know, like it all comes together if you stick to it long term. You know, like I think I personally get a lot of people that, you know, they want to get into what we're doing, but after like 12 weeks, after like 3 months, they're looking at me and shrugging their shoulders and being like, what's happening? Like, why hasn't anything happened yet? And yeah, like I think it's going to take it takes a long time to really understand just how long it takes to get to a place where you feel comfortable. You know, I think the only people that get there, like I have never met anyone that hasn't enjoyed training and, you know, looked and was able to compete. You know, like everybody that gets up on stage, or everybody that, you know, gets to that point in their physique, they love the game and they love the process. You know, they love training. You know, they literally couldn't imagine a day without going. Like it's been 2 or 3 days of no gym, and I think there's a lot of people that are taking that as a reason to just not train. You know, like it's sort of like an excuse to not train and to be like, okay, well, it's done and dusted. But there's, I think, the people out there that want to compete and are going up there, literally nothing could stop them from doing the sessions and training and finding a way, no matter what, whether it's finding a home gym, whether it's doing literally just body weight workouts. And yeah, like I think it's just for people, the people don't realize just how much time it takes to build that habit.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's a will. Oh, if there's a will, there's a way. If it's something you're really passionate about, and you want to actually make work and make it part of your life, I think there's something you can do. There's always something you can do. There's playgrounds where you can do chin-ups on, the bars there. You can squats, as you said, push-ups, sit-ups, lunges, even bodyweight lunges. They're pretty tacky.
They're brutal.
Backpack on your back, your dog on your back, kids, whatever.
So, as a personal opinion, do you think it's possible to maintain muscle mass and stay somewhat lean doing purely bodyweight stuff?
Yeah, I think if you're willing to put in the time, I reckon it's possible to maintain muscle mass. You just need to up the volume.
100%. If you were in that position and you didn't have these weights at home and you weren't in a position to get some yourself, how would you structure purely body weight? You've got nothing but, say, a place to do dips and a place to do chin-ups. And like, just literally, how would you go about if you didn't have any of the equipment you had to keep training?
I think chin-ups of different variations would definitely be one of my key things to back. Any type of row. Again, different varying stances for push-ups.
Yep.
I don't know how much I do bodyweight squats, like just keep pumping out those reps. Might change it up and do like a box jump or like just vertical jumps as high as I can get. Just try and track strength, maybe a bit of calisthenic training.
Yep.
I found actually when I was doing all those flips and stuff, like back flips and doing all that crazy shit back in the day, I found I actually started developing the lower two abs, like to actually get that V and the six pack going. I found actually doing the backflip, exploding up, tucking the legs in, and actually having to land softly on your feet. I found that really shocked the core and the legs in a good way.
Oh, absolutely. I think not just necessarily performing the backflip, but essentially, the practicing of getting to that point and just working on jumping, jumping as high as you can and hip extension. This is one of the things that I've been saying for a long time. I want to rattle off some tips, I guess, to give to actually some tangible stuff to give to people, as we head off. But I think what I say is, look, we understand that the science says at the moment that you can't spot reduce, right? In other words, like doing crunches isn't going to make you lose more body fat on your stomach, right? It's just going to be a total calorie amount burned, and basically based on your hormonal profile, based on just you as a person, will determine on where you lose that body fat from, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think people have interpreted that as in like, there's absolutely no point in working those areas, in those problem areas. So, if you have belly fat, there's no point doing crunches. But, at the same time, I think people really need to understand that if you want your arms to look better, you would do more barbell curls, right? You would do more arm work if you wanted your arms to look better. The muscle is what looks good. Obviously you need to be in a calorie deficit, and we understand this, and to lose weight on the scales and to actually drop the body fat and to get your body fat percentage down. But if you don't spend that time actually focusing on the muscle, if you don't focus that time on, building up the lower abs. Me personally, because I'm pretty much a perfect example, because when I finally got stage lean in that first show, and I definitely, as I asked you that question, I definitely looked better in that first show than I did on the second. So when I look back at that first show and I look at how lean I got, I still didn't really have well-developed lower abs. And, my coach, Alfie, at the time, he literally, I took off my top when I was with him, and he started doing my skin folds, and he literally just he was tapping and poking my lower abs. And he's like, there's literally no separation. There's no, you haven't got a lot of muscle mass there. So what you have to do is you have to get so freaking lean. You have to lose so much weight, and you end up becoming so scrawny, to try and get these definitions out. Whereas if you take the time now to focus on those weak points, so if calves are a weak point, do 200 calf raises a day. What better do you have to do? I think finding ways to do simple things this is a great time to take a step back from your normal training, because, you can't just do barbell curls and bench press all day. I think there's so many people that, can put 150 kilos on the back, but can barely do a body weight squat properly.
Yeah, it definitely changed the game, doesn't it?
It changes how you look at things, and how you should approach your training, and what you should be focusing on during this time, because like you said, weight is going to be limited. If you're used to putting 150 on the back and pulling 180 kilos off the ground, and you can't do that anymore unless you get creative, no doubt muscle mass is going to go down, and you're going to have to work relatively hard to maintain that work. That doesn't, just because you've earned it, if with muscle, if you don't use it, you lose it. We see that happen time and time again. People take off a couple of weeks off work. When you had that ankle injury, did you notice any difference in muscle mass between your calves, and did that change your symmetrical asymmetry on the legs?
Well, funny that I've always had a slightly bigger right calf, and I think that's just because that's the leg I prefer to use with everything. And yeah, I've got a slightly shorter right leg, so I think I kind of use that leg a little more often, lean on it a bit more. Anyway, I think after the ankle injury, the legs actually looked a bit better because they were symmetrical. Yeah,
to lose a little bit of mass on that to get it right.
It ballooned right back. Muscle memory, they just came back within a couple of weeks, and I was back on my feet. So yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, very nice. So look, I think when it comes to, if you only have relatively light weights, you only have resistance bands, you only have a couple of kettlebells or a mat. Personally, I think something you should be focusing on right now is to, I'm a big believer at the moment, and when I'm looking at a lot of the studies, there's a lot of stuff coming out on failure training, and essentially what the consensus is at the moment is you can essentially, whether you're doing 5 reps, 10 reps, 20 reps, it doesn't really matter as long as you're getting close to muscular failure. So now there is obviously going for each individual person, and depending on the type of muscle fibers you have inside those particular muscles on you, will depend on how effective it is for you. But what they're finding is that no matter what that rep range is, anywhere between 5 and 30 reps, if you achieve muscular failure, then it's very unlikely that you're going to lose muscle mass because you're using that muscle. So when you're thinking about doing push-ups or squats, you're trying to work these areas to keep your muscle, I would not recommend doing 3 sets of 10 push-ups or 3 sets of 20 push-ups. I would be doing 3 sets of push-ups to failure and keeping a strict rest time. So, maybe in the first set you get like 35, but when you get to that 35th one, you're pushing absolute failure and you're really struggling to actually keep that muscle. And then you keep a 60-second rest, and then you go for that second set and you'll probably only hit like 18. And then in that third set, you probably hit like 6.
Yeah.
And I think that is so much more important, and finding ways to get yourself not to technical failure, so not when your technique breaks down, but getting to muscular failure. So that like that burning feeling you get, like that point where you're trying to do a push-up and you literally cannot get up if you tried. Like, you're doing everything you can to get up and you're just not. I think getting to that point in your training is one of the most important things, especially in this climate, when progressive overload and always adding more weight to the bar, that's only one of the mechanisms of hypertrophy. So that's only one of the ways that we can achieve it. It's not the only way. I think it's one of the easiest ways to get it because it's tangible and you can look at it as far as numbers go. So like, you can constantly look at it and be like, all right, if I'm getting stronger, and my weight is going up and I'm hitting my protein goals, you can pretty much guarantee that your muscle mass is going up, right? Which makes it really good, and makes it really easy to, I guess, track that.
Yeah.
But yeah, in a time like this, I think tracking is more important than ever, but it's what you're tracking and how you're tracking it. There is nothing wrong with taking a 5 kilo set of dumbbells and doing lateral raises until absolute failure. Even on the first set, you get like 40 reps. I think that's going to be more effective than doing, either trying to do circuit training. So therefore you're constantly like moving and trying to get the heart rate up. If you're trying to keep muscle mass, I probably wouldn't look at doing it that way.
From a body fat point of view, that's probably ideal.
Well, yeah, if you're trying to keep relatively lean, then yeah, it's another great way to do it. And in the late stages of what do we call it? Of like bodybuilding contest prep, you do switch to somewhat like circuit style or very high rep, superset style training. Because
oh, sorry, I was about to say,
go.
Just on that, before I forget, I think during this whole crisis, I think, as you said, like logging or recording the reps you do is paramount. I think at least as you said, like, you're accountable. You can actually push for those numbers, try and aim to get a couple more reps every time you go at it. And seeing as you don't have access to weights, you've got those numbers to push to.
Absolutely. Like, I think, actually knowing how many pistol squats you can get to failure on each leg, and then focusing on that literally every day or every second day, and actually knowing how many push-ups you can get, in a single set, and constantly trying to build that number up, I think is a great way. I'm seeing way too much, and I'm seeing a lot of people coming up with some absolutely ridiculous exercises, and ridiculous bodyweight exercises, to try and like keep somewhat, to like, keep variety in there. But I think variety personally is overrated, especially in a time like this when you have all the equipment at your disposal. It's a slightly different story, and I think you should balance that. But push-ups, squats, and rows and lunges, and basically crunches and leg raises, like these things that we know and have been a staple in our training for God only knows how long. Actually getting good at these movements with absolutely no weight right now, and getting it to a point where you can achieve, anywhere between 50 to 100 push-ups, in a single set, and actually making that a goal of yours, I honestly think people, I think that would be unreal. And I think a lot of people, because it is going to be a new stimulus and because a lot of us are so used to 3 sets of 10, I personally think that's going to really, I think you would put on muscle. I think you would actually hypertrophy quite a bit during that period. Granted, your calories are where they need to be and you're hitting your protein goals.
Yeah, for sure. I think on that, you got to sort of closely monitor your body and how it adapts to these certain changes, because obviously if you're going for reps like that, you're going to have a lot more or at first you're going to have a lot more either it's recovery issues or like energy sort of expenditure issues. And I think you got to adjust your calories accordingly, but
absolutely.
yeah. And I think because we're going lightweight or body weight, I think keeping a good mind-muscle connection, actually feeling what you're working. Like if you're working a push-up, if you're concentrating on bringing those elbows together and getting a proper contraction through your chest, like what's to say like 30 reps is achievable. You could actually possibly get 10, 15, even 20 and feel like you've done 50 push-ups.
Absolutely. And that is, I think, the biggest, I think that's the point of the day, to be honest. The mind muscle connection and your actual technique on these exercises is going to be the most important thing. I watch people, and this is exactly what I mean, like I can see people load up 500 kilos on the leg press, because, technically it's, as a technique based exercise, it's really not difficult at all you have to do is press. You don't have to really think about anything, and they can load it up because, they're in it, but you actually get them to put a light barbell on their back and you just watch the form just go. So, and this is something that I've been saying in a lot of my content as of recent, I think it's about the knowledge as well. I think using this time to build your knowledge and build, actually watching videos on how to do a proper push-up and practicing that, and doing, I think another big thing that needs to be looked at the moment is tempo. And actually working in different tempos and different cadences, because I think people get very comfortable doing exercises a certain way, and people think once they're able to do like 20 push-ups, then they're no longer effective. But try to do like a 5-second drop on a push-up and a 5-second up on a push-up. I guarantee you'll get less than 20. And that's a way. It doesn't matter. The muscle doesn't know any different. What we're trying to do here is stimulate a muscle, whether that's through external resistance like dumbbells or whether that's body weight. It doesn't really matter. But, taking the time now to try these exercises and get them right and get them to feel good, I think is a great use of people's time.
I think it's actually going to impact when the gyms open up again. I think it's going to impact your returning training.
Absolutely.
If you know what you're working, then apply that to like a proper exercise like a bench press or cable fly or something, and I reckon the progress in the initial 4 to 6 weeks is going to be quite surprising, I think. Something to look forward to.
Absolutely. People, I think, actually, I'll go the other way. I think focusing on that stuff, and I'm saying this to a lot of my clients, I'm like, this is going to break the weak and it's going to make the strong. The people that are actually excited and keen to, actually flip the switch and change their focus slightly onto things, like you said, legs is, you're going to be focusing a lot more on legs throughout this period, as because you do feel like that's a weakness. For me personally, I want to use this time to really try and reduce my eating and I guess if I'm not going to be moving as much, I really want to use this time to maintain pretty much all muscle mass. I'm going to try and hold on to that. So protein is going to be an absolute essential part of this. Doing a lot of failure training, because over the years I've not accumulated much equipment at all. You know, I don't own barbells, dumbbells, anything like that. I used to, but as soon as I moved out of home, I've always had like free gym memberships, because I've always worked inside gyms. So I literally never ever needed to buy a dumbbell. So for me, I mean, I'm thinking if it's going to be long term, absolutely, I'm going to create a setup for myself. But if this is going to be for, you know, a month, 2 months, I'm a little bit more, I'm blessed in a way that I may have access to a gym that's close by to me, and as obviously no one else would be allowed in at the same time with what's going on at the moment, but you know, I might be able to have access to that, so it's a little bit different. I might be able to get that in, but yeah, throughout this time, main focus is going to be the weak points. You know, I'm going to be doing, you know, just a lot of calf raises, a lot of ab work that, you know, I've been neglecting for a long time. Just the little things that, you know, normally we don't do because we're so focused on the exercises we really enjoy. But now that they've been stripped away from you, you can either stop doing the things altogether, or you can, you know, shift the focus, you know, change the mindset. Those
little weaknesses are what can make or break you, whether it's on stage or like
100%. Even
just the personal body image sort of thing. If that's
absolutely. And even from an injury standpoint, you know, like I think everyone should be trying to focus on not having any weak points. Do you know how many people that come to me and, you know, have glaring injuries and glaring weaknesses, and, you know, all they're focusing on is, you know, just got to get bigger or got to get leaner. And, you know, they completely ignore those things. And look, I get that. I've done the same thing. You've definitely done the same thing, you know, like it's very human to feel like that and just have your mindset on a goal. But, you know, this is a time, I think, where people can really nail down those things, so that when this gym opens up, you can be completely injury-free, imbalance-free, and, you know, I think you can come in stronger than ever.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. I'm keen. Bring on next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm keen to see like what your training looks like, and do this again, because this has flowed. I don't even know how long this has gone for. But seriously,
yeah, got here at 9.
Yeah, 55 minutes. All right. Well, look, let's wrap it up there. Where can people find you?
Mildura. I'm not really on Instagram much, but yeah.
So in other words, you're saying come to Mildy.
Or I'm planning to come down to Melbourne a few weeks. So yeah. That's amongst the toilet paper section, then yeah.
Delicious. All right. Awesome. Well, we'll sign it off there. Cheers for joining me on this walk. I really think, as a personal thing, a good way to keep someone's habit, and, you know, this is why I'm doing this podcast and why I'm trying to get people like you on and just people to do this, is because I think what's going to be the hardest thing for a lot of people in the general pop situation that wasn't training for competitions and was training for their own personal health and, you know, for themselves, losing that habit and just losing, you know, that time where you go and train and constantly being at home, especially if we go into like a full stage lockdown. I think that's going to be the hardest thing. And it's very hard to get motivated when you've been on the couch all day. And then you have to get up and do something. I just think that's incredibly difficult, because I personally find that incredibly difficult. So all these podcasts that, you know, I'm going to be doing, and I'm hoping, you know, Webb can join me again for it, is just to have something to listen to go for the morning walk, and keep the routine. And I think it's the best way to do it, because especially if you haven't got much on for that day, you feel incredible when you get back home. You're so much more energetic, you move a lot more, you eat a lot better. You know, starting your day with, you know, movement is going to kickstart your energy systems in the right way. You're going to burn the right fuel. I think it's the best way to start the day. So I'm going to be preaching it a lot, and yeah, hopefully, Webb, you join me again very soon. Delicious. All right, my man. I will see you again soon.
Great. Good talking to you.